Morning, gang. It is Monday, November 14th. It's a little bit chilly today, but that's to be expected. Today I'm dealing with a couple of issues on my wife's 2008 Honda Odyssey Touring Edition. Now, you've probably seen or may have seen the videos I've done on repairing the power steering pump and then later on the pressure line for the power steering. And in one of those videos I noted that the engine was making some odd noises, and research has shown that it's a timing belt tensioner. So I'm going to replace the timing belt tensioner today, but I also have a problem with the charging system. Now, I have replaced the battery, and you can see I've got some cable issues. These were, I don't know, prior to me owning it, somebody had changed this stuff out, but everything's been working fine. Let me show you what's going on. Start it up and check charging system. Okay, that's fine. My default repair is going to be to replace the alternator. Now you hear this other noise? It's kind of... From what I've found, that is a timing belt tensioner. So I've already bought one. I'll show it to you in a minute. But let me get the van set up, start taking things apart, and I'm going to try to show you how to replace that thing. Okay, as you can see, I've jacked up the right side of the van. I put a jack stand under the side where the normal factory jack would go, and I've also removed the tire and wheel assembly. Now, here is what they call a timing belt actuator. And basically, two little bolts hold this in. I believe they're 10 millimeter. And this pin is holding the hydraulic device, the piston. And so when you assemble this, and here's the part, and this is from Advance, and it's about 80 bucks. But when you install this, you get everything in place, and then you pull this pin. Don't pull it ahead of time because you won't get it in there. It even says so in the instructions. Basically assemble it and then pull the pin. It also has a warning. Do not remove pin until after installation. Okay, we got that cleared. Let me show you where this is at. Basically, that's it right there, where the light is hitting it. See if I can zoom in a little bit. Yep, that's it. And you can see there's two, hopefully you can see there's two 10 millimeter bolts that hold that in place. Well, you got to get to that. So what I'm going to do to start with is remove this panel right here, and it has these push pins, and basically these push pins you come in behind with a screwdriver, get behind, push on, pull the center of the pin out, and then that will release that assembly, and you pull the pins out. So get those out of the way. I think there's one up here. You may be able to fold this back out of the way. There are a series of screws that attach it to the bumper cover, and it goes all the way around. So it's up to you if you want to pull that out. I'm just going to try to get it out of the way and gain some access. Okay, this is a cover that goes on the rear bank of the cylinder head, and this covers up the pulley where the timing belt runs. As you can see, it's got 5 bolts, and it's got this kind of a shoulder on them. Those are all 10 millimeter, and there's also a wire bundle that runs through this little retainer area here. Let me show you where that goes. Basically, that's the pulley that it's covering and the belt. And I have to remove that because the next cover down is what covers the tensioner device. Now, I also removed 2 more 10 millimeter bolts that hold that secondary cover. Now, that cover actually runs behind the crankshaft pulley from what I can see, so I'm not going to be able to get it completely out of the way, But what I'm going to do is grab it and pull it out of the way, because ideally I just need to get this thing out, get the new one in, and pull that pin, and then everything should be fine. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull that back. I'm going to remove these 2 bolts here beforehand and get this out of the way, and then everything should just slide right back in, and then put it back together. Okay, so I have the old one out, and you see the pin pushing out here. Now this was under tension, so the first bolt came out easy, and then the second bolt I had to run all the way out, and then this thing kind of just shot out of there because of the tension on it. And the new one looks identical. I did bend this pin back slightly because I know there's going to be limited room, because I can't remove that cover all the way, and so that's why I bent that back, and then I'll be able to get a hold of it, hopefully with a pair of pliers, and pull it out. So now the next step is to get this back in place. Okay, just some words of caution right here. When I took out the old tensioner, I realized there was a lot of pressure on it, and it kind of sprung out as I removed the bolts. And I got thinking about that. Well, how am I going to get the new one in if it had that much pressure on it? Well, what I did is I took a ratchet, and I believe that's a 19mm socket on the end of it, and I turned it clockwise. And what that did is it took the tension off of the belt. So the belt, and I have this piece of wood up here because it's holding the cover out of the way, but the belt has cogged teeth on it, so it's not going anywhere. I know it's kind of hard to see, but the belt's not going to go anywhere. And I'm going to, what I did is I took tension off the belt just slightly so that I can get the new part in place. I think that'll take care of it. And there's now play on that little pulley, so I'll get that installed and reset everything, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, everything's in place. I pulled the pin. Let's see what happens. Well, that's a lot quieter than it was. I think there's still some other noises. I think there's still some problems with these rocker arms, as I've read about as well. But the tensioner is definitely quieter. So, on to part 2. I'll make another video on that. I'm going to replace the alternator. But the only thing I've left to do is put these covers back on and get those bolts in place, and that'll finish this job. A little more challenging than I wanted it to be, and it may be a challenge for a lot of people, but just showing you that it can be done. So once again, thanks for watching.